What's up, everybody? New year, same sponsors. We're talking about Elite Sports, the only apparel company that's got our merch squaring around. We're talking about ELETE sports.com. They got everything from squaring around. They also sponsor their own athletes. So if you're trying to get some custom merch for your family, you're looking for a good gift, shop EliteSports.com. Use code SQUARE at checkout to get a nice discount. Tell them the Square Boy sent you. What's up, man? Should you stop our collection too if you're trying to get like a squaring around hoodie, jacket, sweater, hat. We got all that. EliteSports.com. Use code SQUARE. One of the best things you can have is home field advantage. We have that same thing. Use code SQUARE at checkout, homefield.com. You can shop everywhere. Not really Texas State, but I guarantee you if you buy something and you bother them enough, like I've been doing in the off season, eventually one day, like a phoenix, we shall rise. Homefield.com, use code SQUARE at checkout.
Do you know how I know this is going to be a great show, Jacob? Just from
Wow.
the jump.
I
You know how I
sent
know this
a
is going to be a great show?
rundown. Yeah.
Yes. It's the
First
first
first rundown I've sent over to you in months. So we actually
first
know
rundown of the
where the
year.
hell we're going. And
Yeah.
keep in mind, when I do this show, I do know the things I want to talk about. But are
Yeah.
they written down? Are they spelled out? Never really anymore. But that's changing.
Why? Why do you think today is the day to put a rundown out?
Bro, I've been reading this book,
The
free plug,
War of Art?
The War of Art. It's all about
Right.
resistance that people in like creative roles like you and I face, like writer's block and stuff like that. I never really believed in writer's block. I think you just got to do it. But that's basically the synthesis of this stuff. So he talks about athletes, he talks about professionals, he talks about like everybody who's like doing something for money and like the resistance that you face. And I was like, you know
Art
what?
for money.
What?
Art for money or just anything for money?
Anything really. If you want to
Okay.
be a professional, if you want to consider yourself a professional writer or a professional doer of something, you're going to face resistance in your life, you know? Sometimes
Okay.
the hardest things that need to be done are the things that you know need to be done, you know?
I will tell you the hardest thing I had to do is come up with an A block for yesterday's show. Filled in for Craig, did not know where I was going. And today, I kind of don't know where I'm going either. So we'll see how that goes.
And maybe you take a piece out of my notebook, baby, and actually write stuff down.
I Hey, I'm really good at segment B, C, and D. Segment A of every hour, I'm like, how do we start this hour? Like,
That's the
this
only
is
thing I'm
like,
good at is the top.
is
I'm
the
really
top.
good at the top. No.
I think the
Nobody
other
cares
tough part,
about how you end. It's all about how you start, baby.
I think the tough part too is that like I don't have anybody to bounce ideas off of a lot of time. Like in not in this show. This show, it's clearly you. But like doing the other stuff, it's like I don't really have anybody to go to a lot of time. I'm like,
Oh, I have
maybe
such a sweet setup over here now. Like my EP is like one of my closest like
work
close
friends.
confidants. Yeah.
You know,
And so I get to bounce
work
ideas
friends are good to have.
straight up. Yeah.
Yeah.
But one of the
Why do you
things
look like an
I
RA?
was one of the things I was trying to get done though. What?
Why do you look like an RA?
An RA.
Yeah,
Bro, this
you,
is my
you got.
university star shirt, bro.
I didn't see the star part. I
First of
just saw
all,
the
if this looked like an RA to you, I might be one of the sexiest RAs at Texas State. You're welcome.
low key, low key. Looks better than our boy T.
Dude, my RA, Rob from freshman year, shout out Rob De La Rosa, was the man, dude. He was awesome.
I had something. Brandon Sims, I think was his name, but I don't
Did you
think
live
they
freshman year?
are. I don't think they go by that name anymore.
Oh, you lived in Tower, right?
Yeah,
Oh, I'm picking up what you're putting down now. That
it's very lib.
totally breezed by me.
Yeah, that was another person who, from the jump, was like racist white guy. It's like, nope, just a white guy.
Yeah, shout out Jackson Hall. I lived in Jackson. I lived in Tower my second year.
Tower was great.
Tower was
Tower
great.
was great, but the problem is it was so close to that like cafeteria that was right next door. I got
Jones.
fat, and I never lost it. I just became a fat guy.
I never really gained that much weight. Like I gained like 10 pounds. Like I gained a lot of weight after college.
No, the drinking in college. You go look at the
No, but I was
photos.
only drinking though. That's the thing. I wasn't
No, 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 no,
eating.
no. I know, but I'm just saying, like, to say you didn't gain any weight, I'm like, look at a photo from freshman year Jacob and then junior year Jacob when drinking became like your favorite pastime. Different ball game.
Because I didn't drink at all freshman year. So really, like freshman year Jacob, sophomore year Jacob, same dude, pretty much. The
Pretty
biggest
much, yeah,
the biggest change is junior year.
yeah.
But then
When
I
we were
just
doing
maintained that.
dollar margs at grins,
No, slamming dollar margs at grins.
coming down,
I
walking down
feel
that
like
hill.
a lot of those margs from grins though, like weren't even alcohol. I think
No, we
they
were overserved. We were overserved.
think
They
so.
tasted like no, they because it tasted like straight tequila.
Because
There
I would
was
get
no other.
a bucket of beers at 11 a.m. on like a Wednesday and nobody would say anything.
It's like yeah, it's like 1980 in San
Dude, they
Marcos
were
all
trying
the
to sell
time.
that place and then they never sold it. So,
Nobody wanted to buy a
no.
rundown restaurant and bar.
Nobody wanted to buy a bar that used to be a house that they just kept expanding.
I'm shocked.
Who would
I'm
have
shocked
thought?
that wasn't prime real estate in San Marcos.
I guess it is. Like it's all like that new like development. Like, like they're
So
trying to beautify that area.
they shouldn't just leave it run down.
Tired of winning the tailgate but losing the games? We can't help that. But we can tell you what the hell is up with each team and what's going on across sunny San Marcos. Texas State fans, get on your feet. You're listening to Squarin' Around with Jacob Rodriguez and Andrew Zimmel.
Thank you to everybody who watched our episode, our comeback episode last week with Alex Peacock. Just a reminder off the top, I'll say it at the end of the episode too, but you can find us on Spotify. We were on the ROF feed, so you have to look up Republic of Football or Dave Campbell's or whatever. But we had like 17 whole episodes that we did over there. We got hundreds, thousands of views on all that stuff. Very cool, very fun. But if you were like, hey, did the show end? It's always on YouTube, so why don't you subscribe, bro? Hit a subscribe.
Yeah, let me ask you: is this like a fake problem or a real problem? Like, do
Bro,
people
I
actually
got
think
hit up like 3 times about it last week.
really?
They were like,
That's
bro, I
crazy.
thought it was over. And I was like,
Who's saying that?
bro, these people on YouTube, look at our YouTube comments.
That's wild.
Crazy.
Shout out.
Hit the subscribe button, bro. I'm just saying, it's an
Hit the
easy.
notification. Hit the little bell. You'll
And I
never miss
made
another
like a
episode.
whole like link tree for it too. I'll link it over here so you can find it exactly. But just wherever we are, I always link it also on our like teas on Twitter. So if you're following us there, it's there. I know I said I was gonna do something with Facebook. I refuse, honestly.
Yeah.
Maybe we get an
No.
intern this semester in the fall. We'll figure it out.
You know what? Have you been hit up for interns?
Mm-mm.
Have I been telling you about my intern problems?
No.
iHeart doesn't do interns. So I had like 4 people DM me on LinkedIn being like, hey, can we get like an internship? I'm like, no.
No, that happens
Sorry.
over here for the Star all the time. They always ask me about internships. We don't do internships either.
Really?
No.
Yeah.
Especially
I
now
thought
on
I
the
didn't.
on the corporate side, but I'm not allowed to talk about anything like that.
Well, right. So I had an internship when I was in college for the TV stations down there. I don't think it was Ken's. I think it was KSAT.
It wasn't KSAT, I guarantee you. It was
No,
OAI.
then it wasn't
It was
KSAT. What's the
OAI
CBS
at
thing?
29. It wasn't
Maybe.
CBS. Because
I was with
CBS
Don
is
Harris.
Ken's.
That's all I know.
Yeah, that's Fox.
All right, it was with Fox.
Or
And
Fox and OAI because they're the same company. It's
yeah,
like
so it was those guys.
It's the CW 29 and OAI. They're all like one thing, and they all. Not gonna say it here.
Okay. I did stuff with them. Shout out Chase Shannon. Good dude. Yeah. I made some good friends through that too. One of the guys went to UT, then he went to Northwestern. Now he works for CBS in like the stats and information department. So it's kind of cool. He'll put random ass tweets up about like this is the first time that this football game has done this or that. And you're like, don't need that information, but it's kind of cool to have.
I had
Put
no
that in the
idea.
back pocket.
So this episode is kind of like a football catch-up episode, mostly because I was like sick, like fighting through that Alex Peacock interview. I'm so sorry, I really didn't say anything. Andrew carried me, and thank
So
God we had
sorry. Like
Alex.
I
booked.
thought it was a great show.
No, it was a great show, and I went back and I edited it too. So we got to talk about a lot of things with Alex. If you haven't watched it, check it out. So it harkens back into those days. We're going to talk about basketball as well. But I kind of have like top 3 headlines we should talk about post bowl game, right? I think the obvious one to talk about is we got a new OC alert, Landon Keppel. Shout out. A lot of people are asking, what the heck is this offense going to look like now? Brother, I wish I could tell you, but you know how secretive this damn football team is. You think I'm going to know immediately?
I don't think it's going to be anything different. You think we're not going from like what we were running, which was a hybrid spread, to now going like, well, hey, I formation power back.
Changing
Like, that's not
everything.
happening.
Nah.
That's not happening. And then you look at the way that Kenny likes to run his offenses and the players that he likes to bring in. He likes offensive linemen that can pass block. Doesn't really care that much about run blocking, but let's call a spade here. I'm not all that concerned. And the running back room next year will be, I'm not going to say significantly worse, but it will be worse, I think, from what it was this year. So I imagine, yeah.
Dude, that's one of my next headlines. I'm not gonna lie.
I imagine it's going to be a lot of the same when it comes to quarterback play and like the offense that we're going to be running.
And I don't know, like I'll talk about it once we get to this other part of it too. But I don't know, I'm getting bad vibes all around. Tulsa State University, we got Dex, Kinney, and Keppel, who are all former Tulsa players. Kind of cool, I guess. You get like a lot of synchronicity. You're talking about year one when all these dudes came from UIW. Year two, there's kind of like a Mod Podge. Year three, it's Tulsa State University. So
that's pretty good. Yeah, I like coaches that have I like coaches that know each other and they have like background and they have like a shared history a lot of time. And sometimes you'll get coaches who are all from the same tree. So maybe they'll have one head coach that they all were under at one point. Maybe they weren't all on the same staff. I like that. I think that that's good for camaraderie and the coaching staff. It's something that not a lot of people talk about. Is like, do all the coaches get along? That does help the success of a team.
well, that stuff's super important. I'm sure you feel it in your job. Like people have to have kind of similar. You have to come from like similar circumstances, similar experiences. You have to have like a certain. Your dues have to be paid. Another chapter in this book, actually. So,
You haven't pitched my book as hard as you're pitching the War of Art.
bro, I'm gonna actually read your book this year, and I'm gonna go through it like with a fine tooth comb, and I'm gonna send you back copies. Then you could do a volume 2 of it. Actually,
I already have a volume 2 in the works.
Really?
I've learned a lot in the last 3 years.
When I come out with my producer manual book, that's gonna be fire, bro.
I mean, good luck.
Good luck. That's the most backhanded compliment ever. Okay, let's talk about the running back stuff, right? Lincoln Perry is currently cornering the market on all NIL foodstuffs. Is it finally the year of the Link Dog, or does a bigger fish come in and run the show despite what GJ has said about Lincoln's status as a captain next year?
He's going to get fat with all these NIL food stops.
I know. He was at Blimpie today. We're recording this on Wednesday afternoon, but he was at Blimpie today handing out free sandwiches in San Marcos.
Damn. Those people do not need free sandwiches. Take it from me. I think it's good. I'm glad that he's getting paid. I'm glad that he's cornering the market on the food economy in San Marcos. Is he going to be the lead back next year? I don't know. I think time will tell. We'll know more as we get into the spring. Yeah. It also depends, too, on that second transfer portal, because a lot of guys go into the transfer portal after that spring game when they say, hey, there's only so many handoffs that a college offense runs in 2025. You might have a situation where a guy who might be higher profile at a different school says, hey, I'm not happy here. I'm going to go somewhere else. Look, there's a lot of schools in the Southeast that Kenny has been contacting. There's a lot of schools in the Midwest that Kenny has connections to. I would keep your eyes peeled, again, as we get into spring, those running back 4, 5, and 6 on some depth charts who might end up coming to Texas State. And then if that happens, Lincoln Perry, who is very good, but is coming off a knee injury, and had a very good season last year. But if you're replacing him with a 19-year-old, yeah, I don't know. I don't know if that's like necessarily the worst thing in the world.
And it was kind of like a hot and cold season too, I want to say. Huge fan of Lincoln Perry, obviously. But
yeah, friend of the pod.
Friend of the podcast, exactly. He was on our show. But like the UTSA game was great, right? And then he was kind of quiet for like 3 weeks. Then I wrote that feature of him.
He didn't get the handoffs either.
He didn't get a lot of touches, and neither did Ish. Like we went from this like pass heavy offense to then like run first, and then it was like spread between a bunch of backs too. And so then I don't know.
You think back when they started making those decisions, and it kind of came after that ODU loss when, hey, whatever we're doing might not be working.
And then Jordan was hurt too, right? Like he got banged up after, was it Louisiana or one of those games? But then that kind of was a thing. And then it was like, oh, RJ Martinez, he's a Mexican. Remember that whole episode?
I don't remember saying
You
that,
know?
but I do remember
I
some
remember
saying
saying
that.
that for sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. That kid from UNLV signed and committed to Texas State. So that was like the first thing that I was like, ooh, this is Ishmaeli replacement, basically. I don't know.
Yeah.
He's gonna work hard, but if there's anybody that can work hard, it's probably Link.
And his best doesn't necessarily have to come on the field. If you just have a leader in the locker room that can kind of continue to instill that culture, because we talk when you have a transfer portal, you don't really have the continuity that other programs might have that are able to keep guys around. If Lincoln Perry is a guy who can just bring glue and bring the culture, keep that culture that Texas State's trying to create, I don't know if that's necessarily a bad thing.
The continuity cat, Lincoln Perry. I like it.
Low key, that's a good one.
Thanks. Continuity cat, captain. Three
Yeah.
C's.
CCC.
Nash Jones playing in the Shrine Bowl this week. I think it's this week. Could be next week. Whatever. Doesn't matter. Does anybody watch those things anyway? I'm not a scout. I don't watch them. But could he be the first Bobcat to actually do something in the league since? I mean, I guess it's like David Mayo, who currently still is in the league.
Aaron Brewer.
Aaron Brewer still in the league. I actually have his card, his rookie card.
I love Aaron Brewer. I did not think he was going to have like a 10-year NFL career. Like, I am very impressed.
He's got a
with how
great
good he
agent, honestly.
Yeah.
I
Well,
mean,
he's been a good. He's been
First
a
of all,
good
he's playing
offensive
good
lineman.
too. Yeah.
Yeah.
And he shouted out Texas State. Shout out.
Well,
Texas State.
hold on. I will say this: if you are online, I think he's playing for the Dolphins now. I think that was the last one that I really remember.
Well, he signed
Those
like a
fans-
5-year deal in Tennessee, and I think he got dealt in something.
Those Miami fans, I googled his name one time, were not being very kind to our
None
guy
too
Brewer.
pleased.
I do not think he had a good game. I think Tua ended up on his back a couple times. People were not happy with Aaron Brewer.
But you know what's crazy is I thought Savion Patton had a much better shot at being in the league, and he did actually. He ran a few times with the Falcons and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And I was like, yo, all these other guys getting shots. Why not my boy Savion?
Yeah.
But now
I
he's
can see
Mr.
that.
Brahma, so I guess I can't complain.
Yeah. Is he more San Antonio than you now as Mr. Brahma?
Dude, I think he is. He's like in everything with Wade Phillips over here. Like
Yeah.
every time that they have like some sort of photo op, he has one of those.
Hey y'all, Savion Patton, defensive lineman for the San Antonio Brahmas. Training athletes. Just coming back home, trying to get the kids something that I never had growing up. Want them to understand that they can find, there is a way out, and I want to show them that way out. I can't say I can sing a little bit. I can harmonize a little bit, make something sound good. Man, I know whenever I was a rookie with the Colts, man, I got up there and I sung Nice and Slow by Usher.
Yeah. Well, shout out. I got
Friend
I
of the
guess
podcast, Savion Patton. That's my boy.
Yeah. Aaron Brewer, come on the pod. We'll talk about Tua. Is he the truth? Is he the answer in Miami?
Okay, now these are the top dumbest headline updates since the bowl game.
I'm here for this.
We kind of have already hinted at this a long time ago. I think like 3 episodes, actually, in fact. Andrew Zimmel went on this podcast and went on the record and said, I hate Ben Bell. So now our friend Ben Bell is officially a Virginia Tech, what is it, Hawkeye? Or what is it? Hokie?
Hokie?
Hokie? Whatever you call
Yeah.
him. I don't care. I don't give a about Virginia. Straight up.
Damn, the Cavs.
Yeah. What are they?
So-
They play Enter the Sandman, or what's their deal?
I think that's the one. Anyway, point is, Virginia. The edit of him coming out of the Texas State uniform, arguably the worst use of graphic design maybe ever.
Straight up.
Terrible.
It did
terrible
suck.
graphic design. Ben, shout out, man. I'm glad you got paid. I've heard that the number has gone from like high 6 figures to 7-figure deal to good on you. Get paid, man. I will say this. There's a lot of dudes who lost a lot of games at Texas State who are very happy coming back that they did not win more than 10 games in a 4-year career. And they can come back on the square. They can have a great time. Ben, I'm not saying you're not going to have a good time in the square. I'm just saying that I don't think you should. I think that your square access and privileges should be revoked for what you put us through this year. That's just me. Maybe other people disagree, and you're fair to have your opinion. The way that it went down this year with Ben Bell is very disappointing. If he was just another guy, or if he didn't play at all, didn't play a single snap this year, I wouldn't have a problem. But it was on the sideline, not giving us an update. It really did feel like it was a drawn-out process. The season's only 12 weeks long, and it felt like we were talking about it every single week. So,
dude, for 6 weeks straight, I was asking that dumb question at the press conference, and everybody was like, "Jacob, shut the F up."
And it could have easily been as simple as he has a sprained ankle. We're monitoring it. That's all it could have been. But they didn't want to lie for you.
It turned into this stupid non-answer every single week, basically. And you know what? Maybe that's like a thing for this coaching staff to take into consideration next year, how we're handling personnel issues.
Yep.
I know I kind of put on my tinfoil hat mid-season, and I was like, the world is against us. I don't know if it's that deep, or maybe they just can't handle stuff like this and didn't know how to until it happened. You know what I'm saying?
Let me ask you this.
Yeah.
If you can't handle at the group of 5 level this type of situation, should you be handling group of 5 issues? I'm just asking.
That's fair.
Because this is the new world we live in.
I felt about Texas State for the longest time. You can talk about the Jaden Delora situation and how you and me both said that we didn't think this school was built to handle something like that. We don't have the infrastructure to handle a story like that. We actually got word that some street justice was handled. I'm not saying Ben Bell is a marked man by any stretch of the imagination.
No, he's
actually
when
you were talking about that, I was wondering. I was like, if I had a few drinks at the square, then I was rolling around, and then I saw Ben Bell, would I recognize him? And the answer is 10 out of 10, absolutely. So if you're a football fan and you see Ben Bell, I don't know, buy him a drink or something.
Or buy him a drink for sure. But we have a guy who we know who got in a dude's face after a couple. I'm not saying get in the dude's face because Ben will wreck your world. But ask him some questions. Be like, was it worth it leaving sunny San Marcos to go to Virginia? Shout out. But
that would be so fun.
I don't love it.
If he doesn't play at Virginia Tech, but we get an interview with him and he hops on and we cosplay as Virginia Tech reporters and we're like, all right, was it worth it? Just tell us right now.
Their SID would never. I would love that. I'd be fine with that. In fact, give us a cell number. We'll call him on the show.
Straight up. I don't know. I'm sure we'll get the real story at some point, but by then it'll be too late. And who cares? You know what I'm saying? And then we can't even talk about it half the time. So
yeah,
there's a lot of hidden headlines, basically. Moving on.
Next headline.
Okay, so this is from Dave Campbell. This is their way too early power poll from DCTF because everybody stole our idea from 2 years ago to basically make New Year's resolutions for each team. Shout out, you're welcome for the free content. But I think
we're the first person to ever come up with that idea.
I think so, honestly. You know what we were the first to do? For sure, the Groundhog Day episode. That was a fun tradition of ours. So at number 1, obviously, is the Texas Longhorns, and these are how every program is looking into the next season, right?
Going into 2025, yeah.
Yeah. We are way at the bottom, my man.
We were at 6, right?
We're at 9. Yeah.
And UTSA is 8, right?
Beneath UTSA and above North Texas. So that's where we sit.
Who made this? Craven?
Yeah.
Okay. Next headline.
That's all you need to know.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm kind of because I was talking about just kind of the gray area that we sit. We don't really know what the offense looks like. We barely talk about recruiting on this show.
Okay, when you say we don't know what the offense looks like, we know what the offense is going to look like. It's going to look
fair.
just like it did last year.
It looks similar. Yeah, it'll look similar. Same mechanisms, different players.
Yeah, I think that Traylor gets a. He is going to continue to get a pass when it comes to, hey, we're going into the year with a bunch of question marks. He gets a pass because he's had question marks year after year after year, and he's been able to answer them. And Texas State is newer when it's hey, we have a couple question marks, so they don't get the benefit of the doubt. That's really what it is.
You see, I guess the biggest question mark for them last year was the quarterback stuff, and now they have a bona fide, this guy can play quarterback.
I like Owen McCown. In the season, I loved him. as we get out of the season, I'm starting to be like, are we sure he's the guy again? I will say that of the 3 programs, UNT has their guy clearly, UTSA has their guy clearly, and Texas State's going to roll out a new guy for the 3rd straight year.
I think so too.
Get how that could be like a little bit more of passive, I'm not quite sure. I think the gap between UTSA, Texas State, and UNT is very small. I'm not if you ordered them Texas State number 1, UNT 2, UTSA 3, people would be like, all right, I can see it. Or vice versa. It'd be like, fine,
Who was like insultingly above us? Let me see. Was there anything
nobody really
disagree with? Not really.
Did Sam?
I guess UTSA is like BS, but whatever.
Where's Sam Houston on that list?
Sam Houston's 12 out of 13.
So okay, that's fine. Our rival is ahead of us, and our rival is behind us. Whatever, fine. The team we beat in the bowl game, I guarantee if we lost to UNT in that bowl game, UNT would be 1 spot ahead of us, and that's just how it is.
Yeah. This is clickbait Craven, not true.
Clickbait Craven.
Clickbait
100%. Versus good journalist Yates.
Shout out Carter Jades. Also, side note from the UNT stuff, why were all their journalists wearing the same shirt? Like that was so weird to me when they came out of the press conference, and they all looked like assistant coaches though when they came out of the press conference.
I think they all work for the student newspaper or the student media, and that's like what it is. Because KTSW
they were like grown men though. They were all like in their 40s.
No, those were students. I think.
Nah, the students were the ones that we were talking to. Were you invited to the hotel, which was weird. I just want to say that was strange as.
You're the one that put me on a couch to record a live stream.
Oh my god!
I think we're even. I think it's one and one.
Yeah, you invited them to the Diddy party, and I bought a hotel. You're welcome.
One bed. What are we doing?
It was last minute.
Ain't no party like a Diddy party.
I guess this next one is really just like, what does next year even look like for GJ and the boys? I think you're right. I think
your third headline.
Yeah.
Oh,
I was reaching for this one. Okay, I had like 5 good ones in a row. It's pretty good.
I thought you were going to bring up my incredible tweet yesterday.
Oh, what'd you say?
About the student body population.
I guess people want to talk about that too, right? You want to talk about some?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's the third dumb headline: realignment.
Realignment.
We do it every day.
I'll say this part. We're going to the Pac-12, and then you could say the other part. We're not going to the Pac-12,
dude. First off, the tweet that I put out yesterday, brain dead, dumbest thing I could do, but I did that on purpose because
got like 15 likes on that, didn't you?
Everybody's doing this thing where they're like, "Well, Texas State makes sense in the Pac-12." It doesn't matter. That's not like the thing.
Who
and
cares?
I'll tell you, we're going to be the podcast that breaks that news to you. I promise you that. I don't think they will, but if they do go to the Pac-12, you will get a live show with Jacob and I, wherever we are, to break that news for you.
That'd be fire.
Yeah. Pete Thamel, watch yourself.
A lot of people like want this stuff to happen like immediately though. And I think what you don't realize is how much S goes into this stuff, bro. It's crazy. I wish I could tell you like even the stuff that we know. But the people who tell us this stuff are very close to the vest.
I'll tell you, I don't think it's going to happen. I've been telling you, I don't think it's going to happen. And I'm not saying that because Andrew Zimmel thinks it. I talked to the people who know, and they don't think it's going to happen either.
Yeah.
So, like, I'm not making it up.
I mean, if you asked me in 2025, will the Bobcats leave the Sun Belt? I don't think so. Yeah. If you asked me in 2026, will the Bobcats leave the Sun Belt? I think maybe, but honestly, it's leaning more towards no than anything.
When I get word, hey, I'm not saying, I'm just saying it's getting close, I will say it. I'm not hearing that. Yeah. Jacob's not hearing that. Nobody who knows this team and covers this team is hearing that.
The biggest telltale sign for all of this for me is the dumbest thing I could possibly think of, which is that Texas State's flag and Washington State's flag have been right next to each other on game day for all of football season. And that's the only thing that we know for sure.
Okay. You're not wrong.
No.
Old Crimson.
And there's been a large effort to make that happen, by the way, over the course of this.
Shout out to those
past
guys.
year.
Honestly, that's a story University Star just refuses to do.
They refuse to do a lot of stories.
Stories like right there on a platter, and they're like, no, we don't want.
You know what's also right there on a platter for us? A feature on us doing this damn show. 2 University Star alumni flexing their stuff every year, week to week, whatever.
They don't like us, bro. I'm telling you.
They ain't like us.
The podcast riddled with talent. That's the problem.
Podcast riddled with talent.
Yeah.
So
I
yeah,
reached out about
that's
that.
all
Did I tell
I'll
you
really
about that?
say on like Pac-12 stuff. But everybody is making like fake graphics online. That's why I tweeted that off Squarin. Like we are just all making fake graphics. We could make a fake graphic online. Go Texas State to the Pac-12, and we could break the internet too if we wanted.
You know what
to.
you should do? Do Texas State to the Big Sky. Texas State stepping out of FBS, going to FCS to join Montana State.
Yeah, sources. You're full of.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ. I don't know. These are all like people who are like don't have journalism careers, unfortunately. And that's why like you won't see some BS from me or Zimmel. It's because like if we say something and we're wrong, like that's like half of our career right there. Like you know how much it took to get this level of credibility for this show, which I know sometimes it doesn't feel like we have a lot, but you know.
Oh well, I would challenge anybody who doesn't like us. I'll even enemies. I know you're out there. Write all the things that Jacob and I have been wrong about. Write them all down, and then bring them to the pod, and we'll have you on as a guest, and we'll answer for our crimes.
Yeah. Okay, let's talk basket hoops, which is kind of like a sad headline in itself. I'm gonna be honest with you. If you haven't been paying attention, the men's team's been kind of mid, to be honest. The women's
Win one,
team,
lose two.
Women's team has been awful, and it's because the women's team lost 2 starters, and then they lost another player. Who's out for non-disclosed medical reasons, according to Coach Z. That team's fine. I'm going to approach this the same way we covered them in college, which was, let's talk about the winners first. We'll kind of brush past the losers, right? Let's talk about the men's team and the things that are going right. Tylen Pope's been the talk of this whole team, pretty much. Your favorite player, Colton Benson's been kind of going off. He's kind of hot and cold on some days. Sometimes it looks like Coach Johnson does have a squad. Other times, it looks kind of the same thing for the last like 2 years that we've seen. Undersized players, not really going, I don't know. You know what I'm saying?
In a conference that has like multiple big men that are like really good.
Yeah.
Like the Sun Belt has like multiple guys who are like legitimate 10 and 10 type of guys. We refuse to go get a big man. Like,
well, and here's the thing, like one of the biggest dudes on our team, Chris Turner, is like out for the foreseeable future. I got that exclusivo information and I said it on our like year-end wrap thing that I had a conversation with Don. He came right up to me and told me that Chris Turner was out. And I was like, oh, thanks. That just kind of fell into my lap. But yeah.
Ship a loss.
Shout out. Yeah.
I'm going to go out and say that the regular season doesn't matter. I've been saying it from the beginning.
Yeah. Even Alex
really
Peacock came on the podcast and told us the regular season doesn't matter.
And and I felt bad for him because he was like, you're telling like a player that the regular season doesn't. I'm like, yeah, duh. Like, I mean, the thing that matters is March Madness. Like, if you tell the alumni base, hey, we won the regular season, yeah, we're going to be excited. You tell the alumni base we are going to March Madness for the 3rd time in 7 years. That's great. For sure. We're all happy. So I don't really care. Benson has been very hot and cold. I sent Jacob the shooting numbers and his points per game, and it's like 23, 0, 2, 7, 17. It's like
24. Yeah.
Can I just get a consistent like 15? A consistent 15. And I feel like that is an underrated aspect of those 2018, 19, 20 teams where you could look at a guy and be like, I know I'm going to get 12 to 13 points out of you. And I know I'm going to get 10 to 15 out of you. I know I'm going to get like 20 points out of you. All right. That's already like at 40 something points. Where are we getting those other 20 points to get to 60? Because that's usually what it takes to win these games. Because we have good defense. And we don't have anybody we can count on. Consistent scoring. We don't have that.
And unfortunately, I already know how the season's going to go because Arkansas State's just going to run away with this one. That team looks effing incredible. I saw them against South Alabama. We're at the corner of the season too, where we play them twice, like back to back. And I think they end the year at ODU. Well, then they do this like MAC Sunbelt Championship, whatever BS. Eventually, we'll
It's to
get.
help those teams get quad one wins, or like to try to get more wins, so that you might potentially end up getting a bid.
But here's the thing, like, and this has always been my contention that the Sun Belt is not a basketball conference. It's like it's masquerading as a
See,
basketball conference because
but
even the
Georgia
best
State-
school, it just gets laughed at once they get into the
But
tournament.
Georgia State had won a game in the tournament, and we were getting to that point pre-pandemic where it was like, hey, they're not a 16 seed anymore. They're like a 13 seed. They're a 14 seed. Like there are winnable games. You aren't going to win them. You're going to be a double-digit dog, but it's March Madness, and anything can happen, and you can go on a little bit of a run. And Georgia State can win a game and go to like the round of 32 or the Sweet 16. Like it's possible. However, it's just not for us, it feels like.
Just not for us, yeah. Especially like right now, for whatever reason. I don't know. I know we talked about it last week with Alex, like the amount of injuries, the like consistency issues. Like good teams win all the time, and
let me
unfortunately,
tell
we're not
you, there's
winning all the time.
There's another podcast that comes out. It's not ours. And they're very harsh on Terrence Johnson. Okay?
And Nate Deere.
And Nate Deere. And I'm going to
It
say
feels like
this.
an unfair shot. I'm going to be honest.
This is I'm going to give you two takes. One, I'm not the biggest TJ fan either, okay? However, there's ways to go about not being a TJ fan. One way is like strictly media and like it's just like a little bit more. You're gonna, I'm not gonna say all my thoughts on this guy. I'm gonna kind of give you what I think, but like I'm gonna hold back. Actually, that's a lie. I'm gonna give you my whole thoughts because I'm not a racist. Okay. Some of you need to hold back some thoughts because it's coming off kind of rough. It's coming off a little, and I know we're in a new world, and like I get that. We need to just think twice before we
Tone
speak
it down
once.
a little bit.
Turn it down a little bit. The dog was
Maybe do like 5 episodes, then hit me with your hot takes.
yeah.
Set the scene a little bit. You know what I'm saying?
And
Because
I
now
like
we can say stuff kind of outlandish because we're out. We got more than 100 episodes in the can.
Yeah.
I think it's so funny when they shout out Cat's Corner. I'll take off the mask. Shout out Cat's Corner. I do think it's so funny where they're like, Nate Deere is not a D1 athlete.
It's crazy.
Nate
Just
Deere,
have
come on the show. Prove us you're a D1 athlete.
Well, how do you prove that? Are you going to do a sprint off against Jacob? Are you going to do like what are you doing to prove you're a D1 athlete?
Yeah, Nate Deere, can you run a 10K in 59 or 49 minutes? That's my
Put
current PR.
225 in the bar. Put 225 in the bar. Let's go.
Well, there's for sure no way he's lifting that. And there's no way I'm lifting that either. So it looks like I'm a D1 athlete too, Nate Deere. I don't know. You want to talk about the women's team real quick?
But you know what I'm referring to with a 225?
Yeah, the combine stuff, no?
No, the tweet that said like less than 1% or less than it's single digit amount of people can do 225 in the bar. It's like, no, it's not. There's a lot of dudes that can do 225.
I weigh 160 pounds right now.
Yeah.
You think I can get 225 in there? Hell no.
No, but I think it'd take you like 2 months.
Think so? I think
2
my
months chest
personal
training.
best on bench is like maybe 185 or something like
I got
that.
310 up.
I've never been a big bencher guy.
I was big. I have long arms, and that's also a problem.
That's
So I
tough.
I did 3, and then I think my squat I got close to like I think 550.
Big
good.
body
I
weight.
did good
guy.
numbers.
I'm like those black dudes in the park. I'm doing calisthenics.
Yeah, I at one point I was athletic.
Look at you. Shout out Alan Zimmel for ruining your baseball career.
Yeah, shout out.
The women's team, as I've mentioned, not doing so hot. They're currently 9-10 overall.
I don't even want to talk about this team, Jacob. I'm going to
Yeah.
stop you right there. Out of respect
Out of
for
respect
this
for Coach
program,
Z.
I'm a Title IX defender. I don't know how much longer we're going to have that.
What do you mean? How much longer?
I just don't know how much longer we're going to have Title IX.
I don't know. Everybody's panicking because the whole federal grant thing, right? Yesterday.
Yeah, the FAFSA thing was crazy.
The federal government has like went back and been like, actually, that was kind of a step too far. Let's bring some of this stuff back. So I don't know. A lot of it is like immediate like overreach, and then a lot of it is like, oh wait, I didn't know
Correction.
that was included in that. Let's take that back.
Yeah, it's like overreach correction. But it's
Yeah.
like we're
Well,
not going back to where we were. We're going
Yeah.
way further than we thought we could.
Well, Trump even like offered all federal government employees like a buyout.
Yeah, yeah,
Yesterday.
7 months,
Crazy.
7 month buyout.
7 months pay.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
So again, I don't know how much longer we're gonna have Title IX. I stand on that. So I don't want to.
Come on.
say any. I don't want to say any disparaging things against this program and this team. I just want to enjoy women's basketball while we still have it.
Here's the thing, I guess, is because we were talking about Coach Johnson. I don't think Coach Z is in the hot seat at all. I think she's had 2 years where just things don't click in the right way. I think Coach Johnson has been maxing out his Goodwill credit card, and then come tournament time, he starts paying his bills on time. He starts tracking in the right direction. But then the recruiting season comes in, he brings in new guys, and then they play like 6 games, and he maxes his credit card again every year.
So, but again, they go in the tournament. If the men's team goes in the tournament and goes to the championship game, nobody's going to be like, we need to get rid of him. And we're going to be like,
no, exactly.
I can't believe we can't win this tournament.
No, it's because he pays off his credit card in time, bro. And I think let me dip into his contract actually, because I think we have him till 2027. I could be wrong.
Oh, let me give you a lesson in finance, kids. We're not getting rid of him. We're going to go through 2 more years of just what this is. We're not firing him early.
I did the same thing for GJ. Let me do the same thing for Coach Johnson in case anybody's curious. I just don't tweet all these. I have everybody's contract because I'm a bag watcher.
Pocket watcher. Yeah, bag watching. Yeah, no, we're not getting rid of him anytime soon. So shout out Cat's Corner. Enjoy Terrence Johnson. He'll be here for 2 more years.
He's gonna pay off those credit cards, dude.
I'll be 30 by the time they get rid of him.
My freaking Adobe won't open right now. Okay, here we go. So he signed this last one in 2022. Maybe it's this year. Maybe it is this year. Oh, yeah. April 13, 2027. It's his termination date.
And again, you know how I know that it wasn't this year? Because if it was this year, we'd be doing a lot more to try to win some games. Contract year, we're Benson's shooting the ball way more.
That's funny. Guaranteed annual salary. We're paying this dude $415,000.
Is that too much or not enough?
I think that's probably par.
Not enough to have dudes who've never played the sport get on podcasts and be like, this guy needs to lose his job.
If he wins a championship for the Sun Belt, makes 30 grand. Right there.
Makes my salary for just winning 4 games. Mm-hmm. Dude, make it happen.
2026, 2027. If he gets coach of the year, he would 10. Oh, that's pretty good. So like he's already made like 20 grand just off of these incentives. Like,
wow.
I know. You know what I'm hoping?
An
NIT appearance, because the last time we were in the NIT, we lost to what was it? Florida International.
Rice?
No, we lost to Florida International at home at Strand. It was like a February, or I guess it was like late March or whatever the NIT usually is. But yeah, I feel like
I thought it was bad attendance too, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was terrible attendance. It was me on the floor and like 30 people there.
Yeah, why was that?
Dude, I don't know.
Bad
and
marketing?
that was when Trey was on the team too. That was his last year.
That's awful.
Because I remember going to that game and thinking, I'm just going to take pictures of Trey at this game. Yeah, that's basically all I want to talk about. Reminder, you can find us everywhere at Squarin Pod. I'll put the link tree up. I'll do all that stuff. Yeah. But cool. Yeah, this is kind of our football catch up. We're even with basketball stuff. I know the basketball team is doing a big alumni weekend. I might pop up if you're trying to look for us. Don't plan on us being there. Basically, I don't know what I'm doing this weekend.
Well, here's the thing. I don't know where did you see that? Because I never got any email or anything.
Dude, Thad texted us. Yeah, Thad texted us, and then the team tweeted out something, but it hasn't been like super like. Talk about a team that needs some marketing help. Basketball still.
And by the way, speaking of marketing help, I got a text from one of our friends yesterday about your favorite institution, the University Star.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Let me read this text I got. It goes, University Star sports. Schools are jumping conferences at an unprecedented rate. So already our favorite topic. and they go, "Why the hell did they make another account?"
Dude,
Jacob?
they do that like every 3 years, every once in a while. That was the first thing I got rid of actually when I became the editor. I was like, we're not using these bum ass accounts. It doesn't make any sense. We have like
Doesn't make
almost
any sense.
stupid. But it's because they want to, I guess, they're like live tweeting stuff and they don't want to cloud or like the sports stuff on like the main. I understand.
But they don't live
Just
tweet
retweet
stuff.
reporters, bro. Like, what are you talking about?
Yeah,
I don't know.
dumb.
Dude, we went to a presser this year where there was some student journalist who was like making out with his girlfriend in the corner of the freaking press conference. And then that guy got a ride back to his car and we had to walk back. I'll say that right now.
Yeah, yeah. In fact, we have another one where how do you ask a guy, "Hey, I think I saw you hooping at the rec at the bowl game press conference"? Are we old? Is it get off my lawn? Like,
Dude, and not only that, that was the last question at the press conference. Like, yo, do you hoop at the rec?
yeah.
What are we talking about here?
Also, pretty sure our quarterback shot out gangland violence. So
I don't think any of those guys are gangsters. First of all, I'm gonna put that on everything I know. None of those guys are
yeah,
gangsters.
versus McAllen, Texas boy here.
Dude, there's no real gangsters on that team. I'll say that right now.
Is that a problem?
No. Keep
miss-
them as good boys. You
I
don't
miss
want
the
to you don't
Everwithers
want
days.
to know the streets I know, bro.
I wish we had the Everwithers days where there's actual like goons.
They were for real gang members on that team.
Yeah,
Where they had a drug problem. Remember when Colton broke that story? And then I was like,
yeah.
huh?
Huh? Yeah.
You should have won a damn award for that one. Shout out. But yeah, keep recruiting these good boys. If our worst problem is the team's GPA is terrible and we're putting that on the internet, pretty good.
Yeah, if our worst problem is our best basketball player is a white guy, that to me is a problem. I'm going to go out and say that.
I like that.
I'll say that.
Well, you're going to love next week's episode, baby. Thanks for squaring, everybody.
Can't wait to have Benson on.
We don't need no badges. I don't have to show you any stinking badges.
Better not come any closer.
Thanks for listening. New episodes out every Thursday. Follow the boys on Twitter. Eat 'em up. Eat 'em up.